Hello YouTube and welcome back to another live commentary Inferno video. Back with a bit of a fun one here for you guys today because we're bringing the Shadow into the Inferno. Now, is Shadow good in the Inferno? What are the pros and cons versus a more traditional setup? And is this actually a viable first case strategy? All these questions and more will be answered today. But first of all, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to the inventory setup. Now, we don't have a Ward F on this account, so you would want to bring that if you had it. And we also don't have a Magus Ring, unfortunately, which is a huge upgrade in this mage setup. So Magus Ring would be a huge upgrade, but we're just going to chill with the Ring of the Gods this time. And you can also bring a Sang if you want, just to tag the healers, but I will be showing that Shadow is actually viable for the healers, although it's not the best option, but it is pretty chill. So just wanted to say thank you guys as always for all the support, and hope you guys enjoyed the video. And be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Without further ado, we're going to get right into it. The only pre-pot is a single angler fish, so I'll see you when we get in there. Alrighty, so back into the Inferno once again. It's going to be a very chill run. I'm very excited for this one. You know, I have a lot of thoughts about this setup, and I will get it out of the way early that I don't think this is the best way to get a cape if it's your first cape. Just going to spoiler alert right there. But with that being said, it is a very chill cape, so did want to just show this off because it is very fun, in my opinion. And you're going to see in this run, because we have Ring of the Gods, it's a lot better for us to camp 15% prayer. It drains half the prayer as augury, and it loses only one max hit. And speaking of max hits, we do want a heart always, so we'll start doing that. And one thing to note about this inventory is it is a little bit learner unfriendly because we are bringing only 4 brews, but you know, not every video is going to be a learner video as it turns out. Although, I mean, you could actually do your first cape like this, but it's going to be a lot harder, I would say. The main thing that makes this so hard is having to tank the range hits on 50 plus is the big deal. Early waves aren't going to really be much different. In fact, they're probably going to be easier than a bowfa cape even. And before we get too into it, I just want to explain real quick why I'm praying the 15% prayer. So this only loses me 1 max hit. If you had the upgraded 15% prayer, it would lose no max hits from augury, so then it's really, really good. If you have Magus, you can use any of the either 15% prayer or augury give you the same max hit. So with Magus, it's very, very strong. You don't have to use a lot of prayer either. But with this setup, we only lose 1 prayer, or 1 max hit rather, for using the lower prayer, so it's quite chill. Did want to note as well that even though this is technically not a learner setup really, just in terms of like the brews and everything, but still gonna be a decent video if you want to just watch to see how waves are solved, I guess, because at the end of the day it's still gonna be a pretty good guide. Most of the solves can still be done with a bowfa, I would say. And a lot of the same things that we've always done in all the other videos are going to apply here. We're going to always return to the star tile. Because we have so many prayer potions, we can just camp our prayers here for the most part. I don't think I'll ever have to turn off my prayer here, which is very nice. So we will be having a chill first cape experience here. I gotta stop saying first cape when I have 4 brews in my inventory though. It's all good though. This is hilarious though. I love the mage only setup. And if you were wondering, hopefully it was kind of self-explanatory, but the crystal shield is mostly for the later waves where, because our range defense is so low in this setup, that is the one major downside of the setup. So that is going to be something that's nice for us in the future, for like the 50 plus waves especially. And you'll see, on one hand, I would be a little worried about these things hitting me hard, but on the other hand, you can heal up very, very quickly with this setup. That's the one pro of the setup, is you can heal very, very quickly. So even if you take some damage from the mini blobs, you can pretty much just rely on being able to kill them fast enough. going to be slow at the start. You know, I've considered actually, you know, cutting my videos down a little bit, but I do like kind of giving you the full experience of the whole run. I think it's just nice to be able to see. I do admit it probably would be nice for some people to be able to watch a shortened version, but I'm a big fan of making these long form content. You see our DPS against the melee is just absolutely insane. Nice and chill. Early waves are no big deal, and with the shadow it's really chill because you can hit everything from very, very far away. Did we just two-shot that? Oh no, we didn't. No way, man. Just chilling and killing. Maybe that's how the whole cape's gonna go. Hopefully the 50 plus waves are that easy. Spoiler alert, they're probably not gonna be, but... You know, I just will keep reiterating it because there's gonna be someone who watches like the first like 10 minutes of this and they go, oh my god, Rab's recommending Mage Only Inferno, and they don't see the 50 plus waves. Definitely look at the 50 plus waves if you want an accurate example of how this setup is. I mean, truthfully, the DPS of this setup is not bad at all. Not at all the weak part of this is not the DPS, it's definitely just the squishiness of the armor, just not having the range defense. And you'll see we didn't even bring in a stamina at all this time. Really not too necessary. "99% of the time, we're just gonna kill something north of the pillar." Wow, this thing just destroys though. It's so good on these early waves, to be honest. Don't have to really switch gear a lot either, which is very, very nice as well. So far so good. 14 and 15, a little bit difficult waves just because there's two bats. Well, two bats in the next wave, I guess. So just make sure we are playing consistently there. You can start with Pray Mage just because usually the blob will see you first, and then you can pray range against the bats if you need to. Try to kill this bat just so we don't get drained a lot. Now you'll notice I do have the Forgotten Brew here. The reason why this is here, if you're not aware of this, is this actually boosts your mage the same as a regular imbued heart, which is a couple levels less than a saturated heart. It's still nice to have just in case we have to brew down. It doesn't give us quite the same boost as the saturated heart, so we're going to try to remain potted from the saturated heart as much as we can. But it's still nice just to have them, just in case we do need to heal and we want to be repotted before our heart timer's up. Oops, accidentally just took a hit there. We're fine though. This is 15. We can opt to Blood Barrage on the Nibblers here. We also heal more of our Blood Barrage because we are in mage gear. If they run like this, we can Phantom Barrage. It's very nice. Tanking a hit or two there. Or three. And we're just healing up real quick. Kind of just using our DPS to our advantage with the Blood Barrages here. And just a little note that against the monsters with a higher magic defense, like the meleeer, the ranger to some extent, the blobs, the mage mini blob, they all have quite a big magic defense, and what that means is that the shadow is going to often be the best weapon to hit them with. So I would just keep that in mind for the monsters here with a bit more magic defense. So here, for example, you want to make sure you shadow this melee because anything else is going to be a lot less accurate. The shadow giving the bonuses from the magic gear just makes it way, way better on those kind of monsters. Getting along nicely here. You know, I had a bit of a awkward start to this one, I would say, but I feel like that's how it goes sometimes. I feel like we're kind of into it now. So far, so good. We got rangers coming up. Good place. Can we actually reach them from the start tile here? Oh, yes, we can. That's very convenient. Can do a little one-way switch to the wand for the barrages at the start of the wave. And again, it's so weird to have this bat just hit me, but it doesn't drain run anymore, so I guess it's fine. Definitely feels wrong, though. Wave 20, we got 2 bats. It's, again, not a big deal. So these early waves are very chill. You see, this shadow just wrecks the rangers especially. Now, I will say the DPS on the majors, the Jads, and the Zuck, it's a little bit better with the shadow than a bowfa, but not by very much. It's pretty similar, so we are going to get a similar kind of time, although the shadow cape's just going to be a little bit faster in general. Also because we're going to be praying, we're praying an offensive prayer the whole time, which that also makes a big difference from the other videos I've made where I, you know, it's a learner cape and I really haven't brought only 4 brews in those kind of videos, so it might look a little bit different than those. Again, just like another disclaimer, not completely a learner type video, although, you know, by all means, if you're a learner, this is definitely worth it to watch just to see how to solve waves, I would say. Plus, it is an alternate method, so. Just waiting for the harder waves to come. We got like good, you know, 20 waves till it gets kind of interesting. I mean, these waves are cool too, to be honest. I mean, it's important to know how to do these waves cleanly, I would say. Of course we hit a 1. That's what I get for trying to be lazy and not switch to my shadow here. Ooh, whoops, 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 whoops. Alright, now we'll blood brush some bats. Alright, bit of a mistake. Get a little Phantom Barrage. That also hits the Nibbler there, so get a lot of barrage off there. Alright, back to full HP. That was a bit of a silly mistake. I was thinking too much ahead about the mage waves. That's kind of what happened there, so definitely remember what wave you're on. Good tip. Missed another flick. I'm very good at missing flicks against the blobs. Okay, I missed that one too. Alright, we're gonna try to kill this blob quick and then kill them as the melee's corner trapped here. Yeah, not really hitting too hot here. That's okay. Curious to see what her time will be at the end of this, because I would think it would be faster than a bowfa cape, especially given that we're praying Mystic Might most of the time, but we'll be interested to see that. This is a meleeer. And this thing does such crazy DPS on the meleeer, and as I say that as it starts to noodle, but just hits so hard on average. I mean, not now, but definitely not now, but normally. Alright, it died before it digged, so at least it didn't dig. I mean, so far, Shadow feels very, very good in the Inferno, I will say that. Definitely on the early waves, it's definitely a good call, but again, we're gonna wait to see to the 50 plus waves to make a final recommendation because... Ooh, froze the meleeer there. We do have a higher chance to freeze the melee in this setup versus a traditional first cape setup, so like a range setup. We have about an 80% chance to hit the freeze on that versus with a normal setup would be, you know, maybe about 65 to 70%-ish. And before you ask, I did not just pull those numbers out of nowhere. I actually did look at the DPS calc the other day before making this video, so do have a quite bit better chance to hit the melee freeze, but I'll still be careful with it. We'll try it here just for science. Oh wait, so we missed one, so you gotta be careful because you still can miss even with the mage gear on. I think a lot of times I'm probably gonna opt just to shadow the melee to death because a lot of times you can just two-shot it, so that solves the problem a lot too. But it is up to you. In this setup, it is kind of viable to freeze the melee. Kind of breaking the rules a little bit. You know, compared to a normal cape where I would say never ever ever freeze the melee in a normal bowfa setup. But here it's pretty reasonable. Just because our chance to hit is a lot higher. Guy in pillar. That's what you'd call me if you named me based off of my camera angle. I wanted to say, if you're watching at this point, just hope you have having a good day right now. Hope everything's going well. If you're contemplating doing this, be advised, the 50s are probably going to be a lot harder, so don't go judging this video just yet, but it's going to be fun nonetheless, though. I am having a lot of fun. Shadow is a very, very fun weapon to use, I will say that. Alright, 29, we got a couple of relatively hard waves coming up here, so we're gonna play it a little safe. It's so satisfying with the shadow, just being able to find these very easy solves. With blowpipe a lot of the times, it's a little bit harder to be tick perfect, just having to attack every 2 ticks, but with 5 tick weapon, it's very, very easy, so it's... or easy not to miss ticks, rather, so... that is the nice thing about this, for sure. Okay, we got 2 bat wave coming up. Not as bad as the one with the mage, because with the ranger here, we can just pray against all the range stuff. What a bad spawn. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna kill the bats as fast as we can, and then start one tick alternating. Kill these. And then we're gonna pray melee and we're gonna barrage these. Honestly, the thing about this is just a very satisfying... The waves are very satisfying with this setup, I will say. It just feels really nice on the waves. So I would say so far the waves are, you know, going towards the shadow. I think the shadows has a little advantage over the bowfa. But that being said, the 50 plus waves will be a little harder in this setup, so yeah, I'm just gonna say that a million times that someone's not like, hey, what about the 50 plus waves? It's like, come on man, I said it like 20 times, bro. Late waves are bad for this setup. Yeah, 60 through 63 are gonna be a little bit of a nightmare. That is like just what I'll say right now, but I'm looking forward to it though. It will be a challenge, a fun challenge, I would say. We can keep just chugging these prayer pots as we need. We really have no risk of running out. Really, the only question is when are we going to change to augury? Another big con of this setup is having less defense against the Jad healers. So the Jad healers, they kind of slap you in the setup. You have a little bit less melee defense than like a bowfa setup, because crystal armor actually gives quite good melee defense. It's not like wildly different in this setup, because Ancestral still gives a decent defense bonus to melee actually, believe it or not, but it is definitely noticeable. Like, you will feel like you're taking a bit more damage on the Jad healers, so I would just be aware of that as well. It's another con of the setup. Biggest pro of this setup so far is just the ease of the waves. Look how easy just we killed that. We didn't even have to switch weapon, I guess, but very relaxed. I guess, I mean, one con of this setup, the setup that I'm taking in right now, is just not having a lot of brews, but hopefully I'll show that that's not necessarily a problem, although not necessarily recommending you take 4 brews in yourself. Keep in mind that you can also use an even lower prayer. You could even use a 10% prayer or a 5% prayer, or even just no prayer like a learner cave, and that would still be doing pretty good DPS with the shadow, so really up to you how you want to do the prayer situation. Should be kept in mind that I don't have prayer regens in this run, I just didn't feel like wasting them here. So you could also bring those in, and that would just give you a lot more room for messing with your prayer here. But overall, I'm just trying to show one way. This is just Ring of the Gods and using 15% prayer most of the time, so we're going to have a ton of prayer left over even without the prayer regens, which is nice. So here we're starting the mage waves. Just want to stay vigilant. We'll pick up our peapot. And Pillar Guy is at it again. Alright, let's see how the Shadow and Mystic Might does against the Major so far. That's a big hit. I think our max is a 63 with the 15% prayer, so... Very big, very big. Holy, these hits are insane, dude. You know, I think the T-Bow has a higher max hit, but I have a feeling this accuracy is actually higher than the T-Bow's accuracy, because it feels very, very consistent. So it is very, very nice to see. See if we can't take out that bat right there. And again, a lot of these solves could be done just in a normal bowfa setup, so not a completely useless video if you don't really want to try this method. It's probably fun just to see how it works anyway. It is a totally viable method, I feel like. This has a couple of small downsides like I was saying, but we will see how the 50 plus waves go, so yet to be seen. how many prayer pots do we have? We have 12 pea pots and then 4 restores. Okay, that's like overkill if I've ever seen it, but you know what? That's why we're camping an offensive prayer. A little trick I like is if you step one out from here, you can drag the bat into barrage range of the nibbler, so I'll show that off in a sec here, which is pretty nice. There should be a blob here. So something you might not consider about this setup, but I'm gonna kind of blow your mind right now. When you're praying against the mage, if I sit here and just do not flick the blob, it's going to always range me because I'm praying against the mage. And that's very likely to hit here. Because I'm in robes, so every time the blob hits me with range, it's very likely to hit me versus a regular bowfa setup, because bowfa setup you have crystal, which is very, very high defense. So that's why you actually see the mage waves with the blob are actually a little bit harder, or you could think of it as they're a little bit more precise. You can't really like miss too many prayers on a mage wave with this setup, so that's something you also have to be very careful about, that I will say. Another slight con of the setup, if we're talking about pros and cons here. So we are gonna re-saturate heart as always. We wanna just go here real quick, drag the mage in enough that we can hit it from here. It's a very good strat if it's in the northwest corner there. Should be dead there. Gotta be careful because the shadow projectile travel time is quite long, so don't want to accidentally take another mage hit after it dies. Just be aware of that. We took a couple hits there, but we heal up so much because of our mage gear and the blood barrage that it's not really a huge deal. Cheeky Phantom Barrage gave us like 20 HP there, which is like just really, really sick. Chill run so far. I feel like it's pretty fast. It's hard to judge, but it does feel pretty fast. 27 minutes in to 40 feels like we're at a pretty good pace here, I would say. Don't know why I did that. You know, the irony is we got hit by the blob range attack, but not the mage hit off prayer, which is very strange when you think about it. I mean, on one hand, yes, our mage defense is quite high, but I didn't think it was that high that we'd be tanking a mage hit, so... It's all good, it's all good. Make sure we're praying mage every wave here. Oops, messing up my flicking here, but we got back into it, so we're good. Gonna make sure we heal up here. We're getting a little bit wrecked by stuff. But honestly, so far it's been pretty good, so... Again, I'm still considering how to recommend it versus other setups. Make sure we pray mage there, that was a little close. Here the melee will get trapped on this pillar here. And we're approaching the exciting waves, so the waiting is paid off. Or not the waiting, but the getting through the slow, easy waves has paid off. I enjoy the early waves though. A lot of people think the early waves are just annoying and they're kind of in your way, but I don't really mind them that much. I think they're like a good change in pace. On one hand, yeah, like a piece of content like the Coliseum is fun because it kind of gets you right into the action, but I like the Inferno, how it kind of builds up. Dude, this thing is so accurate on the majors. It's actually insane. Look, it doesn't miss. I mean, yeah, it doesn't always hit like super hard, but the thing is really accurate. It has to be more accurate than a T-bow. I say that as it, you know, every time I say something like that, it always starts missing, but pretty accurate overall. It's really noodling now that I said that, huh? Alrighty. Here we can do the same as with any other cape, we just drag the mage in. It's definitely good DPS on the mages. It's definitely not close to T-bow DPS, but I think according to the DPS calc when I checked, I think it is a little bit better than the bowfa on these. Did take one melee hit there, we got fortunate on that one though. Not only is this the Inferno in the game, but it is actually the Inferno in real life. And the reason why is because I have the AC off because I care a lot about the audio quality on this video, so... Yeah, this is the Inferno in more than one way. It's not that hot. I mean, I had the AC running before the video though, so... It's not terrible, but... But boy is it hot today. It's like 90 degrees where I am. I hope you guys are staying cool if it's summer for you. If it's winter for you, then you're watching from Australia. What the hell? You crazy person. No, I'm kidding. No, but yeah, I hope you guys are surviving the weather. I don't do too good in the heat, so holding out for the cool fall weather, but take what we can get, you know. I do like the sun. Don't get me wrong. I like the sun, but it gets to be a point where the heat's too much for me, you know? Alright, so 46, 47, 48, we want to stay vigilant here. So we're going to go with our strategy of just kill the melee. And you see with the shadow, a lot of time you can just like one or two, well not one shot, but two shot it. Whoops, we took a melee from the mage right there. It was a little bit of a mistake. You see, we just take a lot of damage here. If we make any mistakes here, we tend to take a lot of damage. You do have to be a bit careful. Trying to avoid using any brew if we can. We're gonna heal a lot off of the Phantom Barrage here most likely, so that's very nice. That last barrage just heals us a 9? That's crazy. You know what, we're gonna give a freeze attempt here. Alright, nice. That made our life easy at least. Here we're just 2-tick alternating, so not something I've really explained how to do a lot in my previous videos, but it is something that just makes your life a lot chiller if you choose to learn it. Ooh, that pillar is getting a little low, but it's totally fine, honestly. I don't know why I like panicked for a split second, but it's totally fine, because we have 2 full health pillars here, basically. Alright, we're back to good health, so just remember we have to saturate hard as soon as it runs out here. So it is kind of viable to freeze a melee in the setup, but it can still miss, so a lot of times I will just send shadow shots on it just to try to kill it very quick. You know, the funny thing too is this is actually technically a budget setup run because I'm pretty sure it's just not using a T-bow in that setup, so I think this would technically be a budget setup run. Correct me if I'm wrong. Nice, back to 99, that's good. Well, I messed up my inventory here. Let's decant those potions there. Alright, that's better. Gonna try to kill everything here. Getting unlucky on our hits, but it happens. So I'm excited to get to the 50 plus waves. These are really going to be the true challenge of this cape, so I am excited to see how those go. Yeah, 37 minutes in, it's pretty quick here, so definitely faster than our bowfa ones, but the thing is that's not saying too much because we are camping prayer here mostly, so that's a bit of a different situation. Very chill so far. The only thing is you will see, like, when I have made mistakes in this run, I do tend to take a lot of damage because we don't have a lot of defense compared to the other setup. Alright, so starting wave 50, we're now going to use the shield, of course, because that's what the shield's for. We just do a little cheeky 2-tick off-tick. Nice and easy. We did get unlucky by taking a range hit on the first 50 plus wave, but can't do anything about that, so gonna try to go into each wave with our HP the highest and make sure we always have our crystal shield on. They're still pretty squishy from being in the robes, but definitely a little bit better. A little bit more in our favor with the crystal shield. Early 50s, pretty easy, as I like to, I usually say these are pretty easy waves, even though a lot of people get scared of like the early 50s. I think these are not really the waves to be scared of. With the shadow setup, they're a little more scary because the ranger's more likely to hit you at the beginning of the wave, but really not too scary. We have so many prayer bushes. This is insane actually. We just have like infinite prayer. Ooh, what do you know? A 2-tick off-tick chance, or a chance to 2-tick off-tick. Don't mind if I do. Love me a 2-tick off-tick. That's for sure. Don't know what I'm doing. Okay, I think I just guessed that was gonna die and it didn't, so trying to do that. Alright, we are well into the 50s now though. I'm very excited to be in these waves because here is where it'll be the most difficult, but also where you'll see it is pretty much just possible to do a cape like this if you really put your mind to it, so that's what I think at least. Make sure we start in the right spot. Alright, we just pray against everything there. Gotta drag the mage in so that we can kill it first, ideally, so. That was a mistake, but really felt the need to save that pillar for whatever reason. I don't really think our pillars are that in need of saving, but not the worst thing we could do. Make sure we're praying mage, of course. Kind of want to start praying augury, to be honest, but I don't know if it's a little premature for that. It's kind of hard to say. I'll probably do it pretty soon because we are getting pretty late in and we have so many prayer potions left. It feels kind of ridiculous to not pray augury, I'll be honest. So, alright, 54. We got 12. I thought we had 10 left, but we have 12 left, so I'm just going to camp a little augury. I feel like it's warranted at this point. Also, the extra defense at the beginning of each wave does help with the ranger, so it'll help to offset our lower than normal defense as well. This thing is slapping though. Are we seeing this? This is crazy. 49? Holy. Make sure we try to heal back to full here. We will see if we can just camp rigger or camp augury the whole rest of this. Okay, we just want to kill the bat and then kill the mage. Pretty unlucky on the hits, I won't lie. Missed one more flick against the blob there. And we can heal up a little. We want to Phantom Barrage off of that nib over there. It's more time efficient to do that technically than to set up healing off of this. So we probably will we'll just do Phantom Barrage off of this, and then we'll probably just call out enough healing. Maybe we'll do one more. We'll try to get to like 85 or something. Should be good. Next wave we have 2 blobs, so we just have to be careful on wave start. Just forgetting if I'm ranging or maging for a second, so make sure we augur here. And we are going to want a resaturated heart. The DPS on the mages is quite good, I will say. Whereas it's actually pretty noticeable because it's just very accurate. I'd be willing to bet the cape times with the shadow are probably very consistent. Because this thing doesn't miss a lot, so I feel like it's probably just very, very consistent. Alright, we just like obliterate everything because we have mage gear, which is insane. Let's go. Huge. Get a phantom there, get another phantom there because it's just a good thing to heal off of. Might get a sub 70 here, that would kind of be crazy. I know a sub 65 mage only is definitely possible on task, but I don't know about off task, it'd be pretty close. At this point I think we're a little too slow, but I think it's possible in general, maybe with a little bit of changes to setup and stuff. Magus Ring would definitely make a big difference too over the course of the whole thing. So that's something to keep in mind. So here we just want to make it so only one of these can hit us right now. We can get a little 2-tick off-tick in. And then when this melee digs, we're obviously going to trap it on the corner here. Make sure we don't misclick the ground there, that would be the most tragic mistake. Nice and chill though. I think the hard parts are 60 plus and Jads. Probably my new opinion. 60 plus and Jads. Let's see. Well, this one we had a very fortunate wave. Just get rid of those bats to make our job a little simpler. And again, if the melee digs here, we can always corner trap it. We have to run right to that tile right here. This is a way to trap the melee here. You might know if you've seen my previous videos, but definitely nice in this situation. Alright, wave 60 coming up. Very exciting stuff. No need to take augury off. It looks like we have plenty of prayer here now. Now, my preferred method here is to 2-tick off-tick their range in the mage. And especially with the DPS we have, it's very unlikely that the melee digging is going to be a problem if it respawns, so get to just chill here, should be all fine. Huge hits here. The barrages are so huge with all the mage gear on. That's the biggest pro. The biggest pro of this setup for sure is just being able to heal up very quickly. Although you do take more damage, but when you do take damage, you can tend to heal up pretty quickly, so. Also just hard camping your prayer, not having to change to rigor ever is actually very, very chill. The only time I turn off my offensive prayer is when I decide to use a different offensive prayer, which at this point shouldn't be needed, because I think we're gonna make it to the end just praying augury, so. Do want to kill that nibbler on the pillar technically, but it's not a huge deal at this point. Still got the other pillars as well. Trying to save ticks. Oh man, that's unlucky. Well, that's what we meant to do. It didn't end up looking too good, but oh well. Alright, nice. 62. Don't be scared, just try to find a solution here. Right, praying range looks pretty good. See if we can finish this major off before the melee digs. Would just make our whole life a lot easier here. If the melee digs, we can always do that corner trap we did a couple waves ago. We just have to make sure we're quick enough and make sure we pray against the ranger. Should be pretty straightforward from here. Alright, we're getting a little low. We're just gonna risk it here. I really hope I don't regret that. Alright, looks like we're not gonna regret it, but definitely brew there. For most people, definitely brew there. See, here I think we do... little trick to off-tick them there. Ooh, I don't know. I just got off rhythm there. That was pretty weird. Like, I don't usually get off rhythm like that, but oh well. Let's hit that barrage again. Don't mind if I do. Got a pretty humble spawn there, I will say, but you know, when you get spawns like that, you just gotta take it for what it is. We take it. 56 minutes in. Yeah, looks like the sub 65 isn't gonna happen, but still have a good time at the end of the day, and you know, I'm pretty happy with like a sub 70. If we end up sub 70ing, that would be pretty good too. Not quite the CA, but pretty good time nonetheless it would be. I think we'll get pretty close there. We have all the prayer in the world, that's for sure. Did I just take a mage hit? I think so. Took a 1, but this is a pretty poor mistake. We don't want to be running out of Forgotten Brew right now, but we kind of have to repot, so... Was a pretty poor mistake there, I won't lie. Though I'm not sure if that even chanced me. I'm not sure what the max hit. You know, right on the spot here, let's look up wiki. Let's see. The max hit's a 70, so we did get chance there, so I think I was probably right to send the brew dose there. Mage max hit is a 70. Hopefully shouldn't need to heal up too much during Jads or Zuck, I would say. We'll get a little bit close, but... Good thing this isn't strictly speaking a guide. Although, it is kind of a guide, so... Don't try 4 brews at home unless you know what you're doing. Oh, I was trying to shadow that, see if I could kill it. Can I get out of range of that now? Aww. Okay, now I'm just having fun. Now I'm just having fun. Okay. That was all very troll, but now we can just off-tick the normal. Wow, so yeah, sorry for that one. That was a pretty pretty messy wave, won't lie. Dude, I'm forgetting to pray. What is happening? Alright. Well, this is getting even more interesting. Let's try not to die here. That's the goal. Alright, well that was that's pretty cool. So we will use a little bit more brew there. Probably wait for our next saturated heart just to... Yeah, sorry about that. That was awfully messy play there. But at least we did survive. We were ready to tick-eat the ranger if we had to there. We didn't want to take any chance there, that's for sure. May end up regretting killing that ranger eventually. We did just want to heal up though at the end of the day. That was a pretty gnarly mistake to make. But at least we have stuff to heal off of, so that's the silver lining there, I would say. Oh, that just isolates the ranger, that's nice. Alright, so we will just wait on our Saturate Heart cooldown. It wastes a little bit of time, but probably worth it just to save our dose of Forgotten Brew. Was a little bit of a series of unfortunate events there. Prayer is looking good though. Didn't want to hit that there. That did chance it dying, which isn't optimal, but make sure you're killing these around the same time if possible. This is too chill of a cape. I feel like I'm falling asleep. It's too chill. Alright, there we go. Alright, so Jad is where it gets a little less chill because of the healers, so we will have to maybe watch our health here. I like my camera here so that Jad is very close to my prayers. You can click very easily. And even though I have these little things covering up here, I can still click through here for the healers. I know it looks a little bit weird maybe visually, but... Here we can block this from hitting us, which in this setup is very, very nice because any melees that are on us are going to do more damage because we have less defense, so... Definitely nice to get that trap there. Something kind of strange that you might not think about, but we do want to keep in mind is we want to look at this imbued heart timer. As it's getting kind of close to 0, we want to maybe brew up for like one last time. But we should be okay here. Make sure our prayer's up. Don't want to make any silly mistakes here. We'll just watch which way these are going, as always. There's a bit of a misclick there. Can't see the Jad too well, but... Basically just moved one more tile there, or a couple more tiles north, just to make it so only one can hit me. You can pretty much do that wherever you are, so... Trying to figure out the best camera angle. Probably this, just so I can hit the Jad easy. Ooh, making a whole bunch of mistakes here. Okay, so what happened there was he meleeed, so now these are... It actually changes the tick of the Jads, so I have to be careful now. Now there's only like 2 ticks off tick, so... Oh, what a silly mistake. You'll see it does take a little while to kill these. I think our hits have been a little unlucky though. Now they're getting a little more lucky towards the end here. Can we do a 5-minute Zuck? Definitely gonna be close. Definitely gonna be close. Yeah, I'd say probably not. We're probably gonna barely miss sub 70. That's okay though. There we just move to make it so only one gets on us, which is nice. And we are gonna brew right before here, so this is kind of nice timing for our heart here. Alright, so we'll try our best here. Shadow is quite good on Zuck. Starts off with a good hit, that's good. And again, like I said at the beginning of the video, you can take a Sang here if you want, just for the Zuck healers. It is a little bit better for tagging them. But only really for the initial tag, not really for actual DPS against them, so it is up to you if you really feel the need to bring that in, but I felt it was kind of a waste of inventory, so... Not that you're super tight on inventory, because I mean, I guess at the end of the day, we do have a lot of extra supplies left over. So a little trick here. If you do 3 shots on the mage and then 1 shot on the ranger, they're off ticked. Ooh, that was almost, we almost fell behind there, so be very careful. Thing is hitting pretty accurately. I mean, it is missing some, but doing good DPS so far. Right, so we want to kill the mage now. Set timer is paused. 2 minutes left for the sub 70, so that's not going to happen at this point, but it's okay. So that's going to be Jad. Took him a while to spawn because the projectile travel time was so long. So here we're just gonna try to barrage these ones. We want to pray melee a little bit in between, but we're not gonna go crazy and die because of it. Alright, so importantly, we didn't click the Jad there at the end because as soon as he dies, I lose the attack option on him because of one of my runelight settings. Here we just want to make sure we don't accidentally proc it too early. You can proc it later than normal with the Shadow, but you do want to be a little careful because procking it too late will make it very difficult to tag all the healers. And here in this video, we are going to actually just send the healers. I know in a lot of my videos I wait for a second set, but here we're actually going to send. Not to proc too early, but do want to get a head start on this corner trying to proc it. Alright, so he heals a little bit more because the Shadow travel time takes so long. But you see, this is very chill. And you can attack from these dead zones as long as you're only hitting the healer. Should be simple from here. If we get another set, we'll just deal with the set. We do have enough shield health. It should be noted, we have enough shield health where if the set spawns, we can just tag one of them for a while. Probably just straight up kill the ranger, even if it takes us like another rotation of the shield. So even though it looks like we're low on supplies, we're actually not in any danger of wiping here. So long as we don't make a major mistake. It's good to be able to see the DPS of the Shadow here at the end too, again. And again, I did consult the DPS calculator. It is a little bit better than a bowfa. But actually on Zuck, I think it was almost exactly the same. So I guess in a way it goes to show if you wanted, you could actually just send before the second set. So depends on how many ticks you lose and stuff, but it is the same DPS as a bowfa, assuming you don't miss any ticks. On Zuck, that is. On Jads and Mage, the Shadow actually has a bit better DPS than bowfa. T-bow beats everything on Jads, Mage, and Zuck, though. Alright, finished it before the second set, so like to see only one set. It's definitely what we want to see. Alright guys, so hopefully you enjoyed that one. I found that pretty enjoyable to do, honestly. The Shadow is a really good weapon for the Inferno, although I don't know if I'd recommend it over a T-bow, especially over a T-bow, but over a bowfa, I don't know if I'd even recommend it. It's about the same DPS on Zuck, but the defense you get from the crystal armor is just way, way beneficial for a first cape. So, you know, do I think it's the best thing ever? No. Is it a fun way to do the Inferno if you want to try it? Yeah, I would say so, actually. I actually thought it was a pretty fun method, so let me know what you guys thought, and if you guys are going to give this a go, and yeah, just had fun making this one, and hopefully you enjoyed seeing another Inferno run from me. So not much more to say about this one, but I have more videos planned for the future, so make sure you subscribe if you're not already, and thank you again for watching. If you made it this far, you're a real one, so catch you in the next video, and peace out, everyone.